over de hele wereld.
Ik zeg er niet over de weg, ik zeg er gewoon over, joh.
Hey.
Mafkees, jongen.
Ja, mafkees of wat mafkees?
Hé, donder op. Ja.
Over de hele wereld.
Ik zeg er niet over de weg, ik zeg er gewoon over, joh.
Hey.
Mafkees, jongen.
Ja, mafkees of wat mafkees?
Hé, donder op. Ja.
Over de hele wereld.
Ik zeg er niet over de weg, ik zeg er gewoon over, joh.
Het blijft leuk.
Mafkees, jongen.
Ja, mafkees of wat mafkees?
Hé, donder op. Ja.
Valt gewoon op de grond. Ja, dat komt ervan als je domme dingen doet. Ja, zoals die trolletjes altijd doen, hè. Die vallen ook keihard op hun bek. Goedenavond allemaal, daar zijn we dan weer, RHTVLive. Ja, en we geven zoals altijd weer wat geopolitiek. En daar moeten we natuurlijk ook de kaarten bij gaan halen, hè. Ja. Hello to you all, you're watching RHTVLive, giving you geopolitics from the Netherlands, from Maastricht, which is in the south of our beautiful country. And we're going to give some geopolitics. Ja mensen, het is belangrijk om te weten wat er in de wereld gebeurt. En we gaan even kijken naar Mark Dice. Die zit dus in Californië. En die heeft wat te vertellen over komende november. Yeah, we're going to watch Mark Dice because something special has happened in the United States of America. And Mark Dice is going to explain what happened, right? So bye-bye, Liz Cheney. Bye.
The January 6th committee is having her congressional career thankfully come to an end. The beginning of that end happened last night when she...
Oh, wait a minute. I gotta do something about the settings here. There. Put it on 240, right? There you go.
Lost a primary challenge to her seat to Harriet Hagman, who will win come November because Wyoming is a solid red state. When Donald Trump endorsed Harriet, Liz Cheney responded on Twitter saying, "Here's a soundbite for you. Bring it." Well, it was brought, so here's a little soundbite for you.
Liz, you're fired. Get out of here.
You're fired. You're fired. Go away, Rhino.
Adam Kinzinger didn't want to waste his time running for re-election because he knew that he would lose too, so he's going to be out of his seat come January as well, but I'm sure that he's not going to go away, and I'm positive that CNN's going to hire him as a contributor, and he'll continue to do what he always does, complain about Donald Trump every day. And a friendly reminder, only 10 Republicans in the House voted to impeach Donald Trump after the mostly peaceful protest on January 6th. There are 435 total members in the House of Representatives. At the time, there were 212 Republicans. So if you do the math, less than 5% of the Republicans turned against him. Most of them, like Adam Kinzinger, who cried at the impeachment hearings, you may recall, decided not to bother running for re-election because they knew that they would lose. Out of those who tried, all of them got primaried, and out of those, all but 2 lost. Instead of going to work for CNN or MSNBC like Adam Kinzinger undoubtedly will, it looks like Liz Cheney is planning to run for president in 2024.
The great and original champion of our party, Abraham Lincoln, was defeated in elections for the Senate and the House before he won the most important election of all. Lincoln ultimately prevailed, he saved our Union, and he defined our obligation as Americans for all of history.
Well, it's important to have a hobby, so I hope you have fun. But she will have at least one person voting for her, her father, Dick Cheney, who endorsed her re-election campaign for her congressional seat in a sad and bizarre...
You guys remember this guy? He used to be vice president. Dit was de vicepresident in Amerika tijdens het kabinet van Bush. Ja, die wordt ook Darth Vader genoemd.
...video.
Liz is fearless. She never backs down from a fight. There is nothing more important she will ever do than lead the effort to make sure Donald Trump is never again near the Oval Office.
Dun, 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 dun. Yep, there you go. The Heart of Evil, Dick Cheney. And Liz Cheney is out. Bye, Liz. Bye, January 6th Commission. Bye. Bye. Hope to never see you again. So that's what's happening in the US, mensen. Daar hebben we het over. Liz Cheney en Mark Dice, die zit in Californië. Ja. Dus, bye Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney is ook een Rhino, Republican in name only. Ja, dus die is weg. De hele Republikeinse partij is eigenlijk, heeft een nieuwe setting. Het zijn Trump supporters die achter Trump staan. Dus we zullen het zien komende november. En we weten, de verkiezingen, een beetje vreemd gegaan. Hè? 20 mensen kwamen opdagen voor Biden, terwijl Trump 200.000 mensen meekreeg. En zoiets. Ja, dus erg vreemd gegaan. Maar ja, we zullen zien komende november. De Republikeinen zijn er klaar voor. Ja. We shall see coming November what will happen in the United States of America, right? So, and for all you English and American viewers watching, we're going to brush up some history, right? We're going to pay a tribute to the War of 1812. And nope, not the European wars, no, the American War, 1812, right? So we're going to show you guys that, 1812, American-British War. The American-British War explained in 13 minutes. Well, we're going to take a look at this here. This is also a very nice documentary, but it takes an hour. So we're going to take a look at a few minutes of this here.
In 1812, the young nation of the United States took on the country with the most powerful navy in the world in a war that would affect more than just the former colonies and their colonizer. The United States of America first gained freedom from the British in an 8-year-long Revolutionary War that finally came to a close when Britain inevitably recognized the independence of their 13 former colonies on September 3rd, 1783. One of the most relevant impacts of this war that would fuel future tensions between the US and Britain once again was the role of the Native Americans. And as a fan of our channel, you should check out our friends over at CuriosityStream. This is my personal favorite streaming service, a place where I can watch thousands of incredibly well-made documentaries and learn more about different topics, including what I love most, history. One of my favorite documentaries is about the topic of today's video, the War of 1812. By watching it, you will learn more about the impressive history of the United States and the United Kingdom, the rivalry between both nations, and the details of the war, also named the Second American War of Independence. This war was very important because it could have changed history as we know it. Because you are our subscriber, we have a special offer for you. If you sign up between November 16th and January 3rd, you can get 25% off a yearly subscription. That's unlimited access for only $14.99 a year. So use the code KNOWLEDGEA when you sign up and get 25% off your yearly subscription. During the Revolution, the Native Americans mostly supported the Brits, who they hoped would continue to restrict expansion from the US settlers into Native American territory. When Britain failed to maintain its rule over the colonies, the United States eventually accelerated its takeover of native land, causing even more friction between the American societies. This friction only grew stronger as the years went on, as Britain remained a driving force of the discord, since not only had the natives taken its side in the Revolution, but the British also openly encouraged the Native Americans to fight back against their antagonists. By 1812, this, combined with a few other factors, led to the development of a new war. While the United States was clearly unhappy with the united opposition from Britain and the natives, they were also infuriated by allegations that the Royal Navy was utilizing a tactic known as impressment to take U.S. men for their own troops. On top of this, the ongoing strife between Britain and France had a notable impact on the United States. Heavily locked in their own struggle, the warring nations tried to restrict trade from neutral countries and punish anyone who attempted to ignore the constraints. This put the United States in a detrimental position due to their inability to continue trade with either nation unless they wanted to risk invoking the wrath of the other side. While France took a more laid-back approach to ensure the U.S. abstained from doing business with the British, the latter was more aggressive about the matter. On January 7th, 1807, Britain issued an order in council stating, "It is hereby ordered that no vessel shall be permitted to trade from one port to another, both which ports shall belong to or be in the possession of France or her allies, or shall be so far under their control as the British vessels may not freely trade." Furthermore, any ships that refused to obey these restrictions would be subject to seizure by the Royal Navy, cargo and all. By November, the original order was expanded, now to include all the ports and places of France and her allies, or of any other country at war with His Majesty, and all other ports or places in Europe, from which, although not at war with His Majesty, the British flag is excluded, and all ports or places in the colonies belonging to His Majesty's enemies. In retaliation, France, under the command of Napoleon Bonaparte, issued the Milan Decree, which said that every ship, to whatever nation it may belong, that shall have submitted to be searched by an English ship, or to a voyage to England, or shall have paid any tax whatsoever to the English government, is thereby, and for that alone, declared to be denationalized, to have forfeited the protection of its king, and to have become English property. Adding on, Napoleon declared that any of the aforementioned ships that enter French ports or those of French allies are good and lawful prizes of his nation. Forced to reply, U.S. President Thomas Jefferson signed the Embargo Act in December of 1807, blocking all international trade from American ports and taking direct aim at Britain.
Now, most of you Americans should know this, right? Who was president after Jefferson? Anyone? You'll have to dig in your history. I believe it was Monroe, right? So that's that. Let's take a look at diplomatic relationships between Israel and Turkey, which are basically almost neighbors, and they don't like each other. That's been going on for 20 years now. And now the relationships have gone better, actually, So there may be stability in the region. Who knows? We're going to take a look at this here. Al Jazeera is the one broadcasting.
Israel and Turkey are restoring full diplomatic ties after years of discord. Both sides will reappoint ambassadors for the first time in 4 years. But the Turkish government says despite the thaw in relations, it won't be abandoning the Palestinian cause. Well, Rissel Suda is live for us now in Istanbul. Rissel, can you give us an idea of just how significant this is?
Well, the full restoration of the diplomatic relations between Ankara and Tel Aviv is quite a milestone tone in relations between the two countries, and this is coming after intense talks between the Israeli and the Turkish officials through the last year. So both countries have enough reasons to normalize the relations. And Israel is facing the regional threats. Turkey is facing the regional threats. Particularly Israel is regarding Iran as a security threat and regards Turkey also to be a counterbalance to this threat. For Turkey, it is facing the threats from the East Mediterranean and particularly in Syria, and having the Israeli support in these fields is going to be beneficial for Ankara. This is Ankara's perspective. Also, on the other hand, we can see that there is less than a year to the presidential election in Turkey, and Turkish economy is struggling. So the right.
So the relationships between Turkey and Israel are warming up. But there are two other countries, right? Lebanon and Syria. Let's not forget what happened in Lebanon, the civil war over there. And it's because of the Palestinians. You see, Israel, created in 1948, was created in a region called Palestine, right? And Israel expanded and expanded and expanded. And then you had two regions. You had the Gaza Strip, right, which is near Egypt. And you have the West Bank. There you have the Gaza Strip, and there you have the West Bank. So, and still Palestinians are evicted from their homes and this and that. And this is how the terror begins. You see, these people are desperate. So that's that. And Israel and Turkey have a common enemy named Iran. Yep, Iran. There you go. There you have Iran. It has to do with the civil war in Lebanon back in the 70s. And they had backing from Hezbollah. Yeah. And that made it very complicated in Lebanon, because you also had the Syrian army invading Lebanon, trying to quell the wars and stuff like that. But they actually expanded the war. And no puppet government could be installed in Lebanon. The Lebanese people did not want that. So, talking about Syria, let's take a look at Syria, right? Even kijken of het nog allemaal doet. Ja. Syrië gaan we ook even belichten als het lukt allemaal.
Mohammed makes a living selling charcoal. A single taxi fare in Syria's capital Damascus costs the same as her daily income. So she carries out her errands across the city on foot.
I
have a daughter working towards her high school certificate. One of the main reasons she failed her class was because of transport. She registered at a school. She would walk if she couldn't catch public transportation. If she couldn't find any, she would need a taxi, which I cannot afford.
She says people in the city have stopped socializing because of the spiraling fuel costs. Taxi and minibus drivers in Syria struggled to make a living during a decade of conflict. And now, with a surge in energy prices around the world, it's becoming tougher. 2 weeks ago, authorities more than doubled the cost of subsidized petrol.
It's stressful. I have high blood pressure and I've had 2 strokes, but I want to live. I don't want to beg. It's difficult for me to beg. Even though beggars make more money, nowadays, begging is more profitable than the minibus.
In the 11 years since the war in Syria began, it's Its local currency has collapsed to barely 1% of its pre-war value. And that's leaving little hope for its people. Gillian Wolf, Al Jazeera.
Ja, mensen, dat gebeurt dus in Syrië. En triest dat dat gebeurt. Er komen ook raketten vanuit Israël naar Syrië toe. Want Israël zegt van ja, er is invloed vanuit Iran in Syrië. En dat moeten we gaan aanpakken. Ja, dus je zou zeggen dat de oorlog is afgelopen. Nee, nog niet helemaal. Hè. Syrië heeft Turkije nog als iemand die een wantrouwige buur. En ze hebben ook nog Israël als een wantrouwige buur. En de Golanhoogte innemen, dat heeft ook weinig goeds gedaan. Dus dit gebeurt allemaal, mensen. Dit gebeurt. Trump did do something wrong. He gave the Golan Heights to Israel, and he should not have done that. So, Golan Heights. Wait, Golan Heights. Kijk, doet het nog allemaal?